So there are two different measures. Right? A single step is when the front foot moves and then the back foot follows, and that would be this. Passing step would be that, which is a bit further up. Let's just do that 5 times each with your friend. So I do this, and Christine gets to do it 5 times, so she finds her measure. Almost. But, and then like after the second time she does it, she has to cover the after. So you do it again, and I'm going to try to hit you. Good. After that, those 5 times, Christine starts to move around. I'm holding my sword. Christine moves. I try to find her first with a single step. Good. Then with a passing step. Out. And so on. We do that 5 times, and then we switch around. We do that until I say stop. Try that. Which is what people tend to do normally, just in, out, up, up. But there are better ways to do it, in my opinion, because Christine is perfectly lined up to come at me again. I'm here, and her distance is right there as well. It's better, in my opinion, to try to work it from the side. Passing step out to my left, pass step or step out to my right, up, and out. And you can do it forward, which requires you to use the triangle step most of the times. Hit, out, with the triangle step, where you just bounce around her, or you go forward, hit her, and then back again, up, out. So you can see Christine is the center of a cross. She stands straight. From here I can go that direction, that direction, that direction, and that direction, diagonally away from her. So my objective now when I do these things is to try to be mindful of that, try to work through all those 4 directions when I exit. Again. Same thing otherwise with single step, up, or a passing step, and up. Questions on that? She looks for my knee, she looks for my timing. I make sure that my exit is not always straight back, but to the side as much as possible. How I stand with the sword, I can never cover all of them. I cover 1, maybe 2, but some of them will always be open. Right? Same goes for my opponent. If Christine stands in an ox, I can't cover that, I have to go low, and so on. She stands in a prug, I want to go high, or feint rather than go in. And what the masters usually want us to do is go in and attack an opening that is just been presented. So if Christine goes from one guard to the next, I try to go to that opening she just presented to me. So you have that sense of timing as well, not just the distance. So now what Christine will do is she will start moving around, just as she did before, but she will just present the target every once in a while. And we'll do it with a rhythm. So Christine will go shoulder, target, belly, target, target. And I have to time my lunge when it's out there. Right? It looks like this. So do as I say, not as I do. But you get the idea. Now, not now. And as soon as it's getting easy, you're going to go, okay, then Christine has to start moving around. Right, and she can start changing up the tempo. And it's my job to be as close that I can hit when I see it coming, and then a good position. So I can just go like that. I still have to get into guard first, but I'm always ready. And as soon as I touch, she gives me the afterglow on the head or whatever. Questions on that? Let's try that. A little bit your opponent into coming towards you. And we'll start to do it linearly first, because that's the easiest, and then we'll add circle. If you go to a sports festival club, I'm sure they can teach you how to do this, on a linear basis, but they have no idea about how to do what we need to do, which is to move to the sides. That's what we do as historical fencers. But it's never going to be enough for you to just take an opportunity when you see it. Never in a competitive setting, because a good fencer will just not give you that opportunity. You can't just stand there and wait for that to happen. You have to start to try to figure out how to do it yourself. And if you just keep going for an opportunity that arises, you can be sure eventually it's going to be a trap. Hit me in the head. It's not going to work. So now I will try to manipulate distance with Christine. She has the target, and if you want to make it difficult, she keeps doing this. So you have that timing part of it as well. She has to try to maintain distance with me. I try to break that distance. And what I want to do is I want to have her stepping towards me as I'm stepping towards her. So it will just look like this. I move forward, she's going to move back. I move back, then she has to follow. It's going to be like this, right? And what I want to do is to break this so that I'm stepping towards her when she's stepping towards me. And I do that by quickly changing distance. So I'm changing my speed and I'm changing my direction. So Christine stands like this. Yeah, she's following me. She's the coach, but I'm the one who tries to break this distance. If I move back, she moves forward. I move forward, she moves back, I move back. There it goes. I'm trying to catch her right there. And the easiest way of doing it is by changing the speed of what I'm doing. Forward, forward, backwards, backwards, forward, forward, backwards, forward. And catch her. Right as she's changed it. Right as I'm trying to pull her back towards me and she follows, I move back in again. In a competitive setting, this works great. And like, often on a sort of psychological level. And this is how I tend to trick people. I make an attack, I go bam, 1, 2, and then step out, and I slump, like, okay, the exchange is over. 1, and then I go in again. But you can also trick someone even if they're like active and doing it, because people tend to get so focused on the weapon, they forget about the feet, and they're like, I'm going to hit him in the head. They don't really realize that they're like slowly being manipulated by you, who is super smart, making them move in whichever way that you want. So that's the exercise now. Coach, like this, or like that, if you want. Me, forcing her to move. I use both a single step and a passing step. Preferably a passing, because we're still offensive, right? We like to do that. Up. And in. And she's working the same speed. If I speed up, she can speed up. If I slow down, she slows down. As I go. Slow. Oh, she's speaking really slow. She's speaking really slow. I'm going fast. Got you. And you try to mess with her like that. All for that simple hit. And that's it. Try it out? Yes. All right, let's try it out. Distance with me. I try to get close enough to land the hit. And now we're moving to the sides. We start from this distance, which is usually where you start engaging from, because here is with a simple step and then a passing step like a hitter. That's when people start to get into the game. Out here, it doesn't really matter. So about here, I move to the right, Christine moves to the right. I move to the left, she moves to the left. You imagine a circle going in between, right? So I move this way, she moves that way. I change, she's moving that way. What I'm going to try to do now is to slowly make this circle smaller without having her notice. So I want to creep in close without her seeing it. And what I'm doing is this. Right, she goes left, left, she goes right. You see how I'm slowly trying to creep a little bit closer? And then when I think I can touch, I cut. I cross. And then I can cut. Right? So again, it's my sword. I go right, she goes right. I go left, she goes left. She tries to keep distance, I'm trying to slowly cut in. But when you're working a zigzag pattern in like that. Oh, when I think I have it.
Cover the afterglow.
All right, one more time. Slowly get it. If she sees that I'm coming in close, she'll try to make it. If I go right, then she just moves the circle over there. If I'm cutting in too obvious. If you say too difficult for me, she just gives me a little more leeway. Right? She makes it easy enough for me to do it, but hard enough so that it's a challenge for me to do it. And I'm just trying to prove it. And I can change speed. 1, 2, 3. Up. Questions on this? You start with a circle. I slowly try to creep in. When I think I have it, I cut across the circle to hit. And then I step out and cover. And then it's my friend's turn. As the coach, when Christine does it on me, I make sure that she can probably get it if she's smart, but I don't make it impossible. I don't make it too easy. That's basically it. So I have to be active as well when I do it. Questions on this? Circle now. Right, let's try it out. Timing that you need just to be able to start with that cut. We can practice it so an hour, about 1,000 times, and we think we have it, but then our opponent is a decimeter taller, or fence a decimeter further out, or it's a bit faster, or a bit slower, or weird in a way that we're not used to because we only train with the same guy, and it all falls apart. This is all the things you need to have before you can even do that simple cut. And it's something that we all pick up when we just step up and spar, but it's pretty good to be mindful about what exactly it is that is going on. Right? So far we've been working with change of direction, back and forth, and left and right. And then we've been we work a little bit with speed, from fast to slow, from slow to fast. These are the things that that you can use. Of course, you also have change of guards and how long your steps are. So we'll try to throw in this stepping thing now because we're going to play a game that I think is really fun that really highlights these things. We're going to be a bit linear again. But we're going to work with change of speed, timing a lot. And this is called the step pass game or the step lunge game. You can do it in two ways. Christine will start over there. I will start over here. Whoever hits the other person first wins, but there's a method to it. I start because I'm the instructor. You stand in guard. You can pretend whichever body you want, but you want to hit her with the hand again, like that. I have to take a step and then a lunge every time. It's my turn. And when I do it, as soon as I start, Christine has to take 2 small steps back. So if I start now, she can't move until I start to move. I make a step, 1, and then I do the lunge, I extend, and I go back, like that. And as soon as I do that, she has to take 2 steps back, right? So if we start from the beginning again, as soon as she sees me move, 1, 2, she has to go back. Okay, now I go back. So the extension with the arm is just to show her that I'm lunging. Now it's her turn. Right? Now it's my turn. Step, lunge, back. Now it's her turn. 1, 2. See, I take 2 steps back. We're slowly getting closer, right? Step, lunge. Step, lunge. Step, lunge. Step, lunge. Step, lunge. Gotcha. So that's the game. You can change how long you step. So like this is the lunge. 1, 2, and then back. And you can choose whenever you want to do it. So if we end up like this, Christine goes to lunge. You wait for it now until it's my turn, right? Can't move back yet. And she has to be able to go back. You start from this distance and you slowly creep in. And by changing the length and the speed, you try to hit each other. When you get bored with the lunge, you can start doing step pass, because that's a little bit more historical from a video. And then you just end up on the other side. And your friend still does the 2 bangs, like that. Again, start from this distance, more or less. You decide who starts first. 1, 2. So now I'm tricking her. Yeah, come. Gotcha. All right, in opposition to your blade as possible. If I can can I borrow your sword? Sure. When you make your cuts, in whatever way it might be, you don't want to stop and move the sword around to the sides as much because when you do it, you tend to steal energy sideways that should be put into the weaker limb, right? You want the sword to move by its own trajectory. So you strike hard and fast. When you cut with sharps, this is pretty important because as soon as you start working the sides, your flat tends to show up a little bit, and you wobble it, and you won't be able to cut your target. And cutting with sharps on the tatami mats is good here for those who are maybe only interested in like competitive fencing with blunts, because what cutting with sharp teaches you is to have really, really good edge alignment, and that means a lot of force transferred from the blade into the thigh of the opponent. So it pays off. But 4 cuts in one plane means cutting 4 cuts on this plane only, like a locomotive basically. So what we'll start to do is to do a short edge cut just from below, and we'll try to time it with just a push off of the hip to put some extra force behind. So we start on a low guard like this, and you can all spread out. So you see me around, you get your sword back really soon. All right, so in a circle, you spread out, you want your space about this much out. So arms out, and you can stand 2 or 3 deep, that's fine. As long as you can see me, right? So if you're right-handed, do what I do. If you're left-handed, do the opposite to help you out. Right foot forward, like that. Back straight. Right, that's what we do the rest of the exercises. No bent back. Back straight, chin up, you're cocky, right? You're a sword fighter. Bend a little bit, that's it. Sword down, tight by your side. So the short edge, the one between your thumb and your index finger, points up, like that. Now, what many of us tend to do is we tend to have the hand on the pommel. That's really good for point control. When you cut, I usually tend to favor the grip explained in Dublin, which is letting the pommel flow free. So you have a tighter grip like this, not all the way up by the hilt, but down here. I hold my right hand almost like this, not having grip like this, like that. And the left hand pretty close to the right, and then the pommel swings free. It gets a really good, strong cut from that, in that sense. I don't squeeze it, just hold it light, and it's only when I make the cutting motion that I kind of pull it or grip tight the sword. So the first cut is just a simple cut from below. It's going to go from below left to above right, and I push off with my back foot, with my left foot, just like that. When I do it, I tense my gut. So if you put two fingers, you go like that, you push your fingers up with your stomach. That's how tense you want to be when you make the cut. Otherwise, you're going to start moving to the sides. Just that. Tense and back. That's it. Shoulders back, chest forward, so you don't slump. Only that. Just do that a couple of times until you feel you can make it forcefully. The one thing you need to tense really is your stomach. Planes is going to be from below left to above right again, but now it's going to be a long edge cut. Right? So what I do is I go one, I let the sword go around over my left shoulder, and then I make long edge cut again with a step, and I cut up into what will Einhorn. Right? Okay. So not into ox, because which is point facing towards the opponent, but with the point up, because I'm making a really hard cut. 1, 2, like that, and with a step. Short edge, long edge. Short edge, long edge. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's what you're looking for. Up, up, in. First cut, first two. 1. That's a cut without a step, short edge. Then it's long edge, a step. We cut up like that. We actually cut down again. Bam, with the fourth. Oh, sorry, with the third. 1, 2, 3. And I guess you can guess the fourth. That was a shortish cut with no steps. Now it's going to be a longish cut with a step. Back, where we started. Shortest cuts are without steps. Longest cuts are with steps in this section. Easy to remember. Cut, no step. Cut and step. Cut, no step. Cut and step. Short edge, long edge. Short edge, long edge. It's all in one plane. So left to right or right to left. Untra, overhand, overhand. Again. Short, just push away. Long. My hilt barely moves. From here, snap it down. It's a real cut. Don't miss out on this one. Bam, you can sink down with it. Bam. And unload your hands on your left. Cut back to where you started. Short edge, long edge. Short edge, long edge. Short edge, long edge. Short edge, long edge. Short, long, long. No step, step, no step, step. That's it. Alright, right now, go down and go. Twist your wrists, you're going to end up doing short, short, something like that. All of that is fine. Like you can mix this up as much as you want. The short, long, it's the easiest one because you don't move the wrists at all. It's just 1, 2, 1, 2. But then when you have that down, you can of course you can start with the long, like long, short, short. You can do that without any trouble. You want to start out easy, so you know exactly what it is that you're doing. If I tell you to cut with the long, you want to know that you're cutting with the long and not the short edge, because you have complete control over your sword. So you can mix that up if you want, but otherwise it's short, long, short, long. Now we're going to go over and start working on the right side. So now everyone knows how to make an ultra with the short edge and with the long edge, and an overhand with the short and the long edge, from left to right and right to left. So when you go out and compete, guaranteed you're going to do it all the time, right? Maybe. You also need to be able to put off the sparring. But if you have two favorite moves when you compete or when you spar, everyone's going to figure you out pretty soon. You need diversity in your repertoire, so that when you have one skill set down you can perform it well. You need not to settle for that. You need to go over and work on the next one. Like you need to be able to make cuts from all 4 angles, with both edges, with both feet forward, and just keep on working that stuff all the time, facing one way and then the other. Because the pros can come and figure you out. And if you have a broad repertoire, you'll always find tools in your toolbox you can throw in when you face an opponent that you're unused to. And this is true no matter who you talk to. You look at these local sources, they say that. There's a sports fencing guy called Zbigniew Tchaikovsky, man of many consonants in his name. He's dead now, but he wrote a fantastic book on modern fencing, but he also read all the historical sources. He fought in World War II, so like he had experience with bladed weapons. He was a Polish guy. And he says the exact same thing, like technical variety is the key to long-term success. If you have 2 really good moves, you'll be successful for like the time it takes to figure out 2 moves, and like Alex can do that in a week, most likely. Like if you have 20 good moves, you're going to be successful much longer. So you need to be able to have this right, and that's what we do, for example, with solo planning. So you can't just know about it. Like there's a big difference between knowing this drill, yeah, it's short, long, and working this drill. Like, and every time you do it, you get a little bit better. It's the difference between doing it 10 times and doing it 1,000 times. If you do it 1,000 times, you'll be much better at it. And that's going to definitely show in the way you fight. Okay, enough about that. Now we're going to move to the right side, to that stopping. So the only thing that changes now is that I'm not going to step on that last cut. You start on the left side, short edge up, just as before. Long edge comes up, just as before. Short edge goes down, but now my long edge cut, I cut over the right side. Now I cut on the right. Again. Short edge. Good job. Everyone knows that one. Long edge. Everyone knows that one. Short edge down. We all know that one as well. But now the long edge cut is aimed on our right, and we're already perfectly set up for that. So it's on our right, we still nice behind us. So right. Down there. Yeah. Without something with the shoulder, not too much. There we go. Again. Start from the left side. Short edge, everyone's done it. Long edge, everyone's done it. Short edge, super easy. Long edge on the right side. Wow. And you have that space, though, so your right foot is back, it's fine. Short, long, short, right side. Short edge, short edge, long edge on the right. It's only one way you can go. You're going to be able to do it. And then you do the same thing from the right side. Short edge, long edge, left, short edge, long edge, short edge, right. All of a sudden you have a whole new transition you can play on your opponent. When you come up and you want to hit him, like Chris defense, I have to parry from the right. Now you know how to do that as well. The last thing, short, long, short, right. When you go on the right side, you go short, long, exact same thing, short edge, and then back on the left side. Okay, let's try that out. We go around the left side. I need to keep some work in this. I need to be able to step and shift, right? Same if I'm attacking Alex, you can stay there where you are. I come in, I make a strike, Alex parries, he makes another one, he parries that one, and I keep fencing it as I'm stepping around. Going straight into it is not what I want to do. I want to maintain measure. But now I'm all of a sudden I'm fencing in this direction. I started the fencing in that direction. What I had to do was being able to shift my direction of fighting, even though it's the same guy. One cut, two cut, three cut, and I'm still fencing. And then if he wants to continue fighting me, he has to do the same. Right? He has to be able to do that shift. We're going to try to do that now by using this exercise. So, you get your sword back soon. Same drill, short edge, long edge, but instead of doing the short edge down on the same side, I'm going to do the short edge back on that side. Look over my right shoulder, short edge. And that's the cut. Now I can be the shifted direction of my fight. Now I can do the long edge cut, you already done it once. Long edge, stop. And I'm down on my right. From the left, short edge, long edge. I look over my right shoulder, now I'm basically in the wrong side position, sort of. I shift my feet. I snap down into ox. That's the short edge cut. Right there. You already done this before. So now it's really, the only thing that's different now is that transition from looking that way to looking that way. And then it's a long edge cut. And I'm down on my right. I can do the same thing back. Short edge, long edge. Look on my left shoulder. Short edge, long edge, and down. Now I have the skill of fencing. A guy like Alex used circular footwork, so we have to do it. Let's spread out. I'll show it a couple of more times, then we'll try it out ourselves. Spread out further this time, because you'll be all over the place. Same starting position, low left, short edge cut up, step and a long edge cut. Very good. Now look over your right shoulder. This is what we did in the warm-up, right? And now you snap down with the short edge in, so that you see your point. That's it. That's your short edge cut. Very nice. Now you can step forward with the left foot and make a long edge cut down to your right. And that's where you started, but on the right side. You're familiar with this position already, really good. Now from the right side, we can go back. Shoulders cut up, make a longer cut, do the step. Now look over your left shoulder. Very nice. Now you're looking back at me. You snap the shoulders cut coming down now. Up. Right there. Step with the right foot, make a longish cut down, and you're back where you started. Short, long, short, long. Short, long, look over the shoulder, short, long. Short edge, long edge, look over the shoulder, short edge, long edge. I walk around and up. You can make a cut with the short edge, yes, if I ask you to. But being able to work that and doing it in a slightly more difficult situation, things tend to fall apart. And I know myself that when I do this drill, like my body mechanics are definitely not on point. You know, I'm all over the place a lot of times, and I slump with my shoulders and do all these errors. I just keep working them. So slowly, maybe one day, my skeleton will go, all right. We'll see. Now we'll do the fun part, right? I can number you as well, Alice. Now we'll try to do this drill from that side of the room over to that side of the room. Come watch. Now we're going to make two transitions. We're going to do the transition above, where, for example, I was fighting Alex and he steps around. I have to go into ox quickly to cover, and then I can step out and fight again. What if Alex continues around me? Well, then I have to be able to go maybe threaten a thrust from below, and start from there instead. So now it looks like this. Short edge, everyone's done it. Long edge, everyone's done it. Snap over, easy, but instead of stepping forward with the left foot that we did before, basically this. Now, I'm stepping back with the right. Stop. Now I'm slowly moving that way. Now instead of going back, this is going to be my short edge cut. From the right, stop, to the left. Stop, stop, stop. Look over the shoulder, cut down, step back. Look over the shoulder, cut from below, step back. Easy. Right. Now, let's try it out first. We can line up along this wall, so we have like two lines. One behind the other, with some space in between, facing that way. The first line starts first. You start from below left. Short edge up. Come to long edge. Look over your shoulder. Snap down with the short edge. Now step back with the right foot when you make the long edge cut. There you go, now you're moving. Now you look over the shoulder again, right shoulder again. Like that. And then you cut from below with the shoulder. Like that. And then from the long edge. Very good. Look over the shoulder again, short edge cut. Cut with the long edge, step back with the right foot. Now, look over the shoulder. Cut with the short edge. Now, that's it. Long edge. Look over the shoulder. Step down with the short edge. Step back with the right foot, cut down with the long edge. Look over the shoulder. Cut with the short edge. That's it. Long edge to step. Look over the shoulder. Short edge. Step back. Long edge. Short edge. Look over. Okay. Let's try it out. Alex, it's the story. We don't have pads. I do this with sometimes with pads as well, but then I use nylon weapons because the mellow ones just tend to chew up the pads, right? And I just hold the pads up and they strike on them. It's really good exercise for how do you say it in English? Accuracy. If I just tell someone strike my head, they can strike any which way. But if the pad is this small, you really have to think about what they're doing. So instead, the pad is the strong of my blade. That also gives me a really nice parrying training because you really need to be able to parry to play defense. There's no way around it. So if I would do this combination with Christine, and the shield out, the shoulder strike, yeah, that one. And cut one is about to my right. Cut two is about to my left. Cut three is below to my right. So like that, but aim a little bit higher. Okay, so it's still up to my head, sort of, like there. And cut four below from the left. That one. All right? So I go cut two, shield out, cut three. Good. Again. Cut two, shield out, cut three. So it's cut through, shield out comes in, cut three. Good. Same. Cut two, shield out, cut three. Good. What distance, move. She now she's moving straight back because she got stressed out. Okay, now we know she can't move to the side. Good for her. Now it's practice, right? Again, cut two, shield out, cut three. Up. Distance. That's nice. Same combo, work. 2, shoot. That's good. What's it? Good. And we play it like that. This is a lot of fun. That gives you a lot of cardio, which you need when you compete or when you spar. And you throw in different scenarios for your specific technique. And this, there's no end to how advanced you can do this, or how hard. So if you think you have the technique down, start working it like this, it's going to be super difficult all of a sudden. You know, me as the coach, the one who's walking around, see, I was playing with the distance, with her speed. Sometimes I just threw in a counter strike, see how she reacted to it. So I can level up. As soon as she has it down, it's easy. I just increase the difficulty. So we will start really simple by one of you, the coach, just holding the sword out like this, and then the student will strike 1, 2, 3, 4. And they will strike on your head, and you will just simply do simple parries like that. 1 is above from the right, 2 is above from the left, 3 below from the right, 4 below from the left. And we start with just 1, 2, 3, 4. First, I just stand and wait for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just make my short, simple parries, and I'm thinking about my parrying game, so I try to keep the point on line, so theoretically I can counter thrust whenever I want it. Make sure that I get active time, right? I'm not just a passive guy wasting my time training some other dude. I'm working it. And then as soon as I have it down, I start working the distance as well. Right? So in pairs, find a partner. You do that, and you do like 10 of these, and you just move around, and your friend can do it whenever they want. Once they've done 10 of them, you switch roles. And first, just 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. Above right, above left, below right, below left. And that's the shape of an hourglass. It's pretty hard to describe when I just point my finger, but it goes from this line, that line, then you went to number 3, and then number 4. And if you want to come back up again, number 1, you have the shape of an hourglass. That's one pretty easy combination. The other one we're going to do now, it's a bit more difficult because that has the shape of a butterfly. And what it means is you strike number 1, which is above from the right, and then you strike number 3, which is below from the right. Then you strike number 2, which is above from the left, and then number 4, which is below from the left. And that transition is a pretty difficult one. A lot of people have trouble going from high right and then low right and making that work. Making it work for them. This bit has to do, I think, with how well you can activate your core and how you step. If I can avoid this sort of thing. And you probably just stand like that. The combination we did previously was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's going to be 1, 3, high right, low right. 2, 4, high left, low left. And it can be a bit difficult to get some power into that one. And there are 2 ways you can do it. Of course, one is that you make a step and then you twist your hips. So it's 1, 3, and then it's a twist right here that gives you more power. Or you try to make 2 cuts in one step. 1, 3. And you get it work like that. But you need a little bit of power in that. Otherwise, of course, it's going to bind me down and counter strike. Right? I need to have presence, so at least I take the bind. So now 2 things change. The new combination. So now it's 1, 3, 2, 4, like that. And Paul, when he calls it out, he can just make sure that I parry. So sometimes, after I've done the whole combination, he comes at me with 2 or 3 strikes. So I learn to go from an attacking exercise, then back to defense. So I come in with 1, 3, 2, 4, and then Paul immediately, when I'm done with the 4, can go 1, 2 back on me, 3 maybe. I don't know. Just so I learn to defend myself. What did I just do? I just step back linearly, making it super easy for him. Of course, you'll try to move to the side of it, but already my game is falling apart because it's a little bit more pressure than I used to. So that's the exercise now. What is that? 1, 3, 2, 4. Take 2, 3 after blows right after from the coach. And if the coach can move around, make sure that I work to the side, and I have to follow. And when I think I'm ready, I come in and I make those strikes, and then I try to cover 2, 3 strikes immediately after. And those can be any number of strikes of any kind. Okay, let's try that. Third one, that's 4 coming from below. Third one, that's number 4, up from below, and then up to 2. There, we call that box. So what we'll do now is we're going to cut 1, 3, 4, 2. And for many, this is maybe the most difficult transition, going from on the right over to on the left, because you have to pull back the sword when we make it, and then we expose ourselves. If I can use your sword again. If I can if you just hold it today.
Just hold it.
It's all like that, yeah. So this is my target now. Now it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And this transition from number 3 to number 4, the 2 inch left, we have a problem with that one because people want to do is after the first one, they make that one okay. And then when they make the other, they touch them below from the other side, they have a tendency to pull back the sword. You want to do it like this, 1, and then twist it over, and then cut at the very last moment. So that you still have the cross in front of you. Right, that's what we do. This kind of stuff, make those cuts, and also have the protection of the cross in front. So what I do sometimes when I train this is that I see people, they do it. So you do it in the air. Don't look at me. Do it in the air.
This way?
Yes. Look at Alex and cut on him. This is where you're standing right now. Good. Thank you. So what I did was I placed my sword behind her. If she had pulled back, she would have hit my sword. But she didn't because she's good. So again, hold up. 1, 2, 3, like that. Overhaul, ultra, overhaul. But it's going to be a feint on every other one. So I'm going to feint the first one, strike the second one hard, feint the third one, strike the fourth one hard. So you hold it up. Yeah, you just try to parry like that. So this one, the first one is a feint. What? Feint. Meaning I'm going to snap it a little bit and then strike the real strike hard. So again, feint, 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 feint. That's how we're going to do it now. My coach, she tells me if the feint is believable or not. I don't want to train a bad feint. If she doesn't believe it, she can let me know I need to feint harder or like with a little bit more intensity. Right? Just figure it out. Right, let's try it out. Again, if you move, she keeps distance, right? She's ready to strike in any position. 1, 3, 4. It's a bit slow, but it's okay. 4, 2, 1. Conscious incompetence, right? So that she knew something was wrong. 4, 2, 1. Nice. Positive feedback, also very important. 4, 2, 1. Because she couldn't do it the first time. It's not enough to just do it once afterwards. She needs the feeling of having it. So then if she screws up, I'm letting you do the same one a couple of times. Then I come up with something else. Parry, move sideways. There's it. No, don't just move back, move to the side. Parry, move to the side. Okay, now she has it. 1, 1, 4. Same time, 4. Good. 1, 1, 4. 1, 1, 4. Parry. Good. 2, 3, 3. Stop. What's on? So I keep feeding her combinations. Her job is to react right away. She needs to be in distance, or she needs to have the measure. She can't stray too far off. She needs to be mindful. If I move forward, she needs to balance that. She can't be too close, or I can switch out to Tiger to remind her that you're too close now. Too far off, she won't be able to launch it. 1, 1, 2. Doesn't work. And she needs to be in a good guard. You want to be able to make the cuts from any different guard, right? You end up coming down into shrunk, and you see the opening up there. You want to be able to make that cut with any sort of step. What you don't want is to have to gather yourself first and then launch the attack. By that time, the opening is gone already. Any attack that comes, and you will be moving through guards just to make it difficult for yourself. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 2. 2 cuts in the same, without having to do any sort of preparation. That's my goal as the student. And then, of course, as soon as the cut comes in, I know 1 above right, 2 above left, 3 below right, 4 below left. I don't have to think about it anymore. I just do, and that's where I want to get. Every once in a while, the coach throws in an afterblow, make sure I move to the side. And if I have trouble with a combo, the coach gives it to me 2, 3 times. And when I feel good about it, I can do it easily. Then you move on, do something else. Combinations range from 2 up to 5 cuts, or whatever. If you start going up to 6, 7 cuts, maybe the coach is doing it too easy. They need to move faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. For those Germans out there, you can add 5, 6, or 5, 6 if you're Italian, I suppose, which are the horizontal cuts. And you as the coach, you just parry like that. As the coach, it's really easy. You just have to parry, and if you say cut 1, your parry is going to be exactly 1. So you're just going to mirror them. Right? You say cut 3, cut 4, you're going to do but to parry. Gives you the low parry, so you get to practice them as well. So it's really, really easy for you. You do exactly what you're telling your student to do, but as a defensive action, and that's it. Every once in a while, if they get complacent, throw in the afterglow. You can see the hands falling down too low, you let them know, right? 1, 3. It's not 1, 3, right? That leaves you exposed. Hands remain in front of your face or your chest. You move around. If they're too linear, you let them know. Then you start working the sides. It's my job to make sure that they get the right training. I can't just stand in front of the team like this and give a command. It's my job to go 1, 2, 1. So she gets to practice her lateral motion as well. 1, 2, 1. So she gets to practice making the attacks and stepping backwards. That's up to me to make sure she gets all that training done. Questions on this? Start slow, because we're right after lunch. Maybe I just should have gone and tried to carry it, or preferably carry it to that account, and at least cover myself, right? And that's where you start seeing a lot of double hits. So it's not a skill that comes easy to people, and most people just tend to do this. They just do poke and hope. If they get back to go like that. And so there's always a big element of chance in fencing. I think I have never done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I've seen it enough to feel that it's a slower paced game. It's pretty hard for a new BJJ practitioner to just beat an experienced one. But in fencing, you can lock in a lot of strikes, and it keeps it happening. It's very frustrating. And that debate goes on for history. Like, is the art of fencing really worth anything against someone who's really strong and just really, really aggressive? That's a good case for that aggressive person probably going to have a good shot. And I think it's true in many types of battle. Like, will trump skill a lot of times. Nevertheless, you need to be able to know when it's time to attack and when it's time to cover yourself. In our competitive situations today, because I know people are interested in my experience of that, double hits suck. They're very, very embarrassing, and we're judged by our peers. We don't want to look bad in front of them. And on some levels, they tend to punish you during the competition as well. You keep stacking up on double hits, you're going to get penalized somehow. That's our way of trying to make sure that we stay away from it. So it's important to know when you should strike and when you should cover. We will try to do that now in a very simple way. Same kind of drill where I call out combinations, but we add parries now. The best idea would of course be to counter strike and land hit, but we start with parries. Okay, you can borrow your swords again. So far it's been easy. We just say cut 1, 2, 3. Now we add the command of parry. So when I work with Christine now, it's going to be the same kind of setup. We work on her footwork, make sure that she keeps good measure, and then I say cut 1, parry 2, cut 3. And then all of a sudden she's going to cut the first one, taking initiative, then not have an issue by parrying the second, and then come back and cut for the third one. So she's now learning how to move between 4 and 9, basically. Move around, same thing as before. Cut 1, parry 2, cut 3. Now she parries that one, and then she comes in with the third. Yep, perfect. Very good. Parry 1, parry 2, cut 2. Stop.
Parry 1, cut 1.
Parry 1. Oh yeah, so I just say cut 1? My bad. Okay, do as I...
Parry 1, cut 1, cut 2.
Parry 1, parry 2, cut 1. She parries, and then she comes back and cuts. So she learns how to move back and forth between them. So when I throw combinations, I mix them all up. Cut, parry, 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 cut. Any of those combinations. Then we work in the same way as before. So she learns 1, to come in with attacks, and then go back to cover, and then come back in with an attack, like cut 1, parry 1, cut 2, something like that. And she learns to start her attacks, or finish her parries in a way that it's easy for her to cut the counter strike without having to reset, because this is a common problem that we have. You make a parry of any sort, you're just trying to close the line. Christine cuts in, and I go, dang it. And I'm not really structured to then come back in straight for a parry, but you want to be like a coiled spring, right? I make the parry, and that's also my starting position. And this is now the perfect setup for that cut without having to reset myself. And that's the skill that I'm looking for when we go back and forth. Same kind of exercise in pairs. The coach throws out, he or she calls out the combination, but instead of just saying cut 1, 2, cut 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, it's cut and parry in whichever combination that you want up to 4. That's it. Cut 1, cut 2, parry 3, cut 4. You try to work it out, and the more you work it, the faster it's going to get, the faster response you're going to get. If it gets too difficult, just make the combination shorter. You want that quick response, index, like immediate reaction. Then when you start getting the two or three cut combinations easy and it works, then yeah, adding a fourth one will make it more difficult, going back to fourth or three cut and carry more than one. Start out easy. Once you get comfortable, you make it more difficult. Okay. One thing I mentioned at the beginning is you take the technique that you've been using in your class, and you toss it in somewhere. So if you're using winding, when you bind and then you change, you can transfer pressure to thrust in, or you have a crimp out technique or whatever it is, you just toss that into the middle of the combo. So carry one, wind, strike two, kind of something like that. Other things that you can use is, to the terminology, is feint. So I cut one, feint two, cut three, for example, and you start working your feints. Or if you want, you can say, cut one short. Just cut one, but with a short edge. Cut one short, feint one, cut three, whatever. Don't make it too difficult. Then take your focus. If you want to focus feint, then you just work feints and don't work on the parries, for example. If you want to work your parries, throw in the parries. If you want to work the short edge, throw in the short edge. And focus. If you're really good, of course, you can like cut one, cut three short, parry three, parry four, cut one short, cross one, cut two, fine. Okay. Try to do it, but you will find that balance this time. Now we will we will move over. We'll have one more exercise, I think, with these combinations, but we'll start moving over to trying to read our opponents and avoiding double hits. Usually it comes down to being able to read the opponent's intention, which can be really, really difficult. The most common way that I see in double hits is that your opponent reacts with a strike back, an attack back, which sometimes can mean that they're trying to pull off a good intention attack where they're trying to make a single tempo counter attack, like the master cuts. You come in with a sword and they're trying to do a Zerhau, and it's the proper thing to do. They just don't execute it correctly and you end up getting a double hit. Okay, I mean, that happens. Such if you sharp weapons, but luckily that's not. Or they just, without thinking, they just blindly attack somewhere else because they don't pay no heed to what to do. And it's sometimes you have to be responsible for both people's fencing if you want the fencing to be nice, your own and the opponent's. And I mean, that's not something I think you should have to do in a competitive setting because it's not your fault if you meet a brawler, right? And it's not going to be on your reputation. If you want to fence clean and you meet a brawler, if you brawl with them once, no one's going to pay attention to that because they fence clean the rest of the time. I've tried a lot of times when you meet someone who's just all over the place, okay, I'll have to just be safe. But if it's a tournament where I care about the competitive result, usually I just end up getting hit if they just go on without any thought to what's going on. It's not that fun to meet those people, but you're going to run into them from time to time. But as a general rule, what I think works best is to initiate the attack, and if I see that there's suicidal, you want to have the skill to abort the attack and close the line and then go back on the attack. And you see this described, modern fencers call it something, or who knows? Do you remember earlier, it's when you initiate attack and then you see the counter, should you go back? The modern fencer? No, okay. It's called something.
Parry repulse?
Yeah, it's a parry, but then you repulse back. Who knows? Meyer calls it to provoke, take, and hit. He does it intentionally. He makes a motion, makes the other guy attack, and then he goes and closes that line either with a parry or cut away, and then he goes in. And that's how I like to fence all the times because I think it's safer. Instead, if I fence with Christine, instead of just going straight back in, you stand still and make the attack. Bam! Of course, I need to do that as well. But what I prefer to do against them is to make them attack me. I feint, make the attack close enough for them to react. They come in, I take it, and then I go for it. Right? So that's something that I like to do. Let's go the provoke, take, hit. Weiß the name in German. You make an attack, you close it off, and then you go. We will work on it later, but first, before you have that skill, it's also good to be able to really abort your own attack. And Maya talks about this too. It says the highest manifestation of the art is when you're going for an opening and you see that your opponent is going to close to do something else, to be able to abort and go and do something in the middle of the attack. It's pretty difficult. So you want to have the attention and go all out, but at the same time be able to stop it and go somewhere else. And we're going to train that now with these combination strikes. So Christine's going to come in, and we can start with a predetermined one. I say 1, 2, 3, 4. Just goes in. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just parry. Very good. Now, the second time, at some point, I'm just going to strike back into it. right? And she needs to go from attacking me to parry and then continue with the with her combination. So it's basically working with the hands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm only going to 1, 3, very good. Once again. 1, 3, 4. Very good. Now I'm going to strike into at some point. You need to go from the attack, place your sword on my blade, and then go back to the 3, 4. Right? Just start with the first one. So it's 1, attack, 2, now 2, 3, 3, 4.
Keep going?
Yeah, just keep going. So what I did was I attacked into a second cut.
Okay.
So again, 1, take it, 2, 3, very good. Now I'm going to do it somewhere down here. So you ready? So do 1, 2, then I'm going to cut 2. 1, 2, sorry, 3, 4, 3, 4. Very nice. Let's do that one again so you know it. 1, 2, 4, 3, 4. Now you don't have no idea what I'm going to do, right? 3, 4. Yeah, I did the same one because I wanted to feel good about yourself. I wanted to have it down. Very nice. Let's do one more. Yes. Good. So somewhere in the attack, I'm just throwing it in. And her job is 1, 2, up, abort. Take my sword to the side. Just push it or beat her away so the point is not aiming towards her, and then continuing with her to the side. She makes the attack. She has to abort it. Close the line to the safe, and then continue. You start out easy. I mean, if you want, you can tell her, I'm going to cut on after the second one. I'm going to cut after the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't tell her which cut. I'm not that nice, but I can. Right? As soon as it gets easy for her, you up the intensity. You can start out by standing still, completely still, doesn't matter. Then after a while, you add the footwork, you add the distance, you jab at her a little bit, so you have to keep your mind focused. 1, 3, 4, 2. Ah, yeah, okay, that wasn't a nice one, because you have to think about the combination as well. Okay, but now we have 1, 3, 4, 2. Then you work on that combination. As the coach, you will find the level where it's easy enough to do, but hard enough to challenge. And you work from there. Slow it down. Absolutely slow it down. As the student, you will start to attack a little bit further out, because it will give you a little bit more time, in my opinion. And that's good, because otherwise you have to creep in too close. And if this was a competitive or sparring situation, she would never let me get this close. Most of you had this experience. You spar in your club, everything was fine, and you can get pretty close. Then as soon as it's competition, if she's that close, and you have to come in from this distance, right? Because people are on the edge all of a sudden. Well, that's fine. She learns how to defend from further out. Any sort of cut, any sort of combination, as the student or as the coach, you just throw in a cut somewhere there. They have to abort, and then they have to continue on with the combo. And that's how you learn how to make the attack abort it, as they say, and that's how you deal with these double hit ones. Mindlessly counter attacks, or if they're trying to outsmart you by cutting straight into it and it's failing a little bit, and you have to abort the attack and cover the line with something and then go back in. 2 ways. I mean, you can either just parry it. Usually it's really nice that you can strike it away. Like the Trumpa is really good for that, because it really clears the point of line, and you get the rotation from the Trumpa to continuing. Just something to be mindful of. Now we're going to make lower intensity exercises. So you've been doing like high intensity stuff for the whole day. And we're going to do that to about 3 o'clock, and then we'll have 1 hour left to sport. So it's going to be a little lighter now until it's time to actually clean up and fight. When it's time for sparring, we can spar free. If you want me to look at you and coach a little bit when you fight, I'm happy to do that as well. Of course, I'm happy to fight a little bit myself. If you want ideas for limited sets of coaching or any sort of stuff, just approach me and I'll try to figure out what it is you want to do, and we'll come up with something. Those of you who took my coaching class in Melbourne maybe want to use that as well. But we'll continue on with trying to avoid the double hits. Usually, of course, there are technical aspects to it. I mean, if you make a cut, you can't just cut out here. You have to close the line up so that the opponent cannot hit you immediately. I'll just quickly demonstrate what we use this for. Thanks. I'm mindful of this. If Christina attacks me and I want to counter-attack, of course, I can't just strike there. I have to make sure that my counter also carries myself. Right? That's closing the line. I cannot just strike to some other place, whether high or low. So, of course, there are a lot of technical aspects to it as well. And then you have the timing thing, and then you have the distance thing. most of those can be augmented, I think is the right word, by preparing the attack, by trying to scout out the opponent. And in a competitive setting, you can do it before they even start. When you take a look at how the opponent warms up, how he comports himself, and his first bouts, or her of course, and you know that your opponents are also looking at you, right? If you come in acting like, no, I think I'm going to lose, most likely they're going to feel a little bit cockier, and that's going to be disadvantageous to you in the ring, unless you maybe fool them, who knows. But be prepared to know that when you're warming up, they're all looking, and even if they can't formulate it, they are making an assessment of how fast you are, how good your technique is, what kind of mechanics, what cuts can be favored to use, and they will consciously or subconsciously have a small plan around that. Like the bout starts really early. Australia is a small community. You guys face each other at the same time, so like one bout probably goes on for years. I would hazard. Because you meet each other again and again and again and again. It's fun. But then when you step up, you have to make a lot of those assessments again. And the better you're able to do that, the easier it will be for you to decide on the distance, decide on the speed, decide on which attack to use, or which counter to use, and like all of that kind of puts more and more odds on your side, increases your odds. This is something that I talked about in the beginning, that the masters tell us to do, they don't tell us exactly how. Like you get comments like, also pay heed to if you're short or tall, strong or weak, aggressive or melancholic, and and apply the art thereafter. So it's again, it's kind of a goal or thing. Like, yeah, it's really good to know what it's doing, but we don't know exactly what they mean about it. But again, you will kind of get a feel for it, right? So just scouting in how they move is really good. But as we said in the beginning, it's really good if you can notice the situation and take advantage of it. But the best is if you can create it yourself. So what you want to do, in my opinion, is that you want to provoke your opponent. You want to take a step to see how they act. You want to make a feint attack to see how they act towards it. You want to drop your guard to see how they act. You want to change speed to see how they act. And there are really two schools about that. If you ask Anton and Martin from Slovakia, for example, they would say, don't do too much of that because all of that can be read by the opponent. And they're right. I mean, he will read you as well. I tend to favor the idea that if you can do those things, then you don't have to do them exactly the way you're going to do them later. I mean, you make a thrust, make it 1 decimeter shorter if it's a feint, and they think they know your measure, but they don't. You make an attack, just make it, and it's a feint to see how they react, make it a little slower than they think. You can play with all of that, right? But then maybe they know that. So if you make an attack on them and they go to parry, you think, oh, he parries, cool. Next time he does, they just counter strike. So they know that you know. If you know that they know that you know. You end up in this kind of guessing game. And it's really, really fun. I mean, that's why fencing is so cool. Yeah, in many more sports, you have to have this physical chess thing going. We will dumb it down now. Joachim Meyer has 4 different types of opponents. There's something I like to play with and something I recommend for you if you tend to train with the same guys all the time and you think that maybe you end up in the same situations all the time. Meyer's 4 personality types are kind of cool about that. Like he says there are 4. I always meet 4 different kind of guys, and it's one who he goes in and he just bashes around, and you have to work with him. Is that you? And then you have one guy who's pretty aggressive, but he thinks about it, and then you have one guy who he only strikes when he knows he can land a hit, and he's kind of sneaky, and then you got a 4th guy who just stands and waits, and he's either super clever or super dumb. Because, well, I mean, it's true, because if you just stand and wait, either you're really smart because you have the perfect plan, or you're just giving your opponent the longest tempo to work with because you know exactly where you stand. It all depends on how you're able to utilize it. It's pretty clear from Meyer that he favors the people who moves around and strikes the plan. I think he even says so at some point. But that's definitely one way to work. We're going to work with now is the 4 most standard reactions to any sort of attack. All of these are always in the manuals, and they just come out in different ways with different techniques. But the 4 basic ones are: if I attack my opponent and he believes that it's a real attack, in this case I'm just going to kind of provoke it a little bit and see what he does. If he does nothing, that means that you just had it. You just sucked with him. He just stepped in the right place at the right time, and you had the distance, and then you just continue with the attack. If he goes to parry, when you go up to act as you're going to strike, okay, good. Then you can either feint around or strike down and wind in, like the Germans do. If he backs off, then you continue on with the attack that you hit. And the last thing you can do is he goes poking out and he counter strikes, and that's what we've trained about now. Then you go up, abort it, takes attack, and then you go in. Like no matter which techniques you use, this is sort of the only thing, like this is basically what an opponent will do to you. And we're going to try to train that now. So we're going to start with just the first one, and what we train now is this subtle thing of trying to make the opponent think that we're actually going to hit. So Christine, you have a sword? Before you go again, thank you. I'm going to move in, and I'm going to act as if I'm going to strike. Christine's not going to do anything. It's like this scenario is the perfect scenario when I'm just so damn good that I can move in and get the measure on her and just strike. But what I want is her feedback on if she actually believes it's real or not. If I'm starting from this distance and I go, I don't know, I probably am not able to hit it, right? So I just wanted to know that. I want to say, yes, that was a good one. Now you kind of scared me, right? Yeah, that was pretty good. But I can't do it too close either, right? So she'll be able to touch me. Okay, yeah, so next time I'll just try to do just a few, like a step further out. I can't do it too far away. So it's about finding the right stuff. No. Is that good?
Good sign.
Yeah. Maybe a little closer.
Maybe a little bit closer? All right, fine.
Provoking.
That was pretty good? Yeah, okay, good. I'm slowly starting to get the measure of it, right? I'm slowly starting to get a feel for how close it is. Some people have different spaces like that. But you're going to find an average at some point. So just that little feedback, you come in, you act as if you're going to strike, moving to a guard, racing up, and your coach can say, a bit too close, you can even test it. Like, I could have had you there. Or, think it's too far out. Try to strike, and if you end up striking in front, then yeah, you were too far out. But if you go up and you say, yeah, that was a good one. Okay, let me just finish, see if I, yeah, would have had you. So just slowly look for that a little bit. So in pairs, do that a couple of times back and forth. I call you up and we'll move on to the next one. Questions on that? Try that. You have a passing step to actually make the cut. Like the pull up or like going up into a guard, that's actually showing that you want to strike them. Right? That is making them react somehow because you want to set them up. And what you want to do is you want to test them to see the response. That's what I'm talking about gathering information from the opponent. If I'm fighting for, and I want to see how he reacts, I'll go see what he does. And if he does nothing there, that means I probably had him in that moment. So we go and I do something else, some other thing. And the next time I come back and I know, okay, if I find that measure at that, with that timing, I can probably beat him. Then it's end. Because the first time I did it, he didn't have time to react, unless it's setting me up. Probably. So, but doing nothing is more, that's when you really had him. But you pull up like that, as Meyer said, you gather your joints. That's before you commit to an attack. And it might sound like telegraphing, but it sort of is, in a way, But it's you painting them to believe you're actually going to attack. And many fencers, as I said, they don't just are really there to just cut at you because you have that measure where you are close enough to make them believe you're going to attack, but far enough out that you can just abort and pull back out again. And what happens a lot of times is that you do it once, you see the reaction, then you move out. You're just there for the blink of one eye, you do something else, and then you come back to it 30 seconds later. But a good fencer decides right away, okay, and go. And that's, of course, is where you want to end up. So that was when the opponent does nothing, when you were the best, right? And they couldn't realize, they didn't have time to do anything. Second thing is when the opponent goes to parry. That's the people I like because the fence clean, and you can fight with them properly, and they're easy to trick. So now Christine's going to go for the parry. So we can do it here. Now I have two choices. I can strike around to any other opening. I mean, she can only parry one other opening, part of two maybe, but all the other ones are open. Or I strike down on the bind and I wind in. So those are my two options here. If the opponent does nothing, you just bind your attack. If the opponent parries, you bind and wind in, or you strike around. So again, I come in. Is that? Do you believe in that attack? Or?
Yeah.
That's okay? No. No?
Little too far out.
I know she's going to parry, so you just gives me that now. But she gives me the parry now, so that's the next skill. I try to decide right away if she parries, to go around to another opening, or to bind and wind in. But the same thing still applies. She'll let me know if she doesn't believe it or not. This first motion. I'm a bit too close, right? And it can be a guard change, like, yeah, now she went to parry, good. Or it can be a feint or thrust, just push it in. Yeah. Whatever it is, your friend will parry, and you decide right away. Your friend also gives you the feedback if you're too far out, too close, like just not believable with your initiating attack. When they go to parry, you strike to another opening, and we've done a whole ton of 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's not going to be a problem. Or you bind and wind in with a thrust. That's it, just a few minutes. 5 times each these switch force. So back and then bind down or strike to another opening. And you want to strike number 1 cut, but they go to parry that, so you have to abort and strike the number 3 or something, or 4, whatever. That's skill. Or you're striking down on the blade and then continuing to pursue. In either way, you're aborting the initial attack because the opponent parried that one. They were going to. And you go and you do something else because the opponent parried. Now we try to make that decision in the moment. Now when I go up to get the reaction from Christina, I don't know if she's going to do nothing or if it's going to parry. If she does nothing, I'm going to try to poke her on the head. If she goes to parry, I have to decide. And that's what we had the first step to begin. And if she doesn't believe my initial motion, like, oh, that wouldn't have been a real attack, she'll just let me know we abort and we'll do it again. It's difficult. I make that decision right at the moment. Like Maya talks about this, they hold your sword for an instant right before you go. This is what it's talking about. You make the decision. You just hold it for a split second, and then you make the decision based on what your opponent does. And out. That's it. All the time, Christina's giving me feedback on how I do it, if I do it well or not, what I can improve. But I never know which one it's going to make. Questions on this? Try it out. Sense is to run away. Run through. Okay. It was fun in my head. Like many things. Well, it happens. I think Christine even talks about an I-33 plate where it says here the scholar runs away or something, flees.
He flees.
And follows.
Yeah, I don't think he actually, as you say, he's not supposed to flee. But, and you talk about otherwise, it's not a shame to flee against 4 or more opponents, so something like that. Anyway, running kind of fight makes a lot of sense a lot of times. But in a combative setting, or not a combative, sorry, just talking, in a competitive setting, they do that, they can't run away because they run out of mat. And even in a real fight, if you turn and run, someone's going to go after you. In war, in the ancient times, most people died when they turned around and ran, because they were cut down from behind. In a competitive setting, people retreat, which is just natural, and you had a couple of meters behind you. I'm not going to say decimeters because none of you realize where that was, so it's like that. That's 10 centimeters. I used that before. So that happens a lot of times. Christine comes in with an attack, I don't want that exchange, I just go, and I just run off. Most of the people there, they don't pursue because they don't really know how to fight and run at the same, like forward like that. And they're afraid they're going to get like hand sniped or something. But that's really what you want to do. If someone runs off, you want to pursue that, hopefully in order to hit him, but at least in order to gain the ground, so that they can come back. If I come in with a feint attack, and Christine retreats, I want to pursue because she's running out of mat. And she's always going to be slower going backward than I am going forward. So I have a good chance that if she's on her back like this, it's going to be pretty easy for me to overpower her. So we're going to work with that one now. If an opponent does nothing, you hit him. You just cock them. If they parry, you wind or strike to another opening. But now the third one, if they retreat, you pursue. And you want to have that skill of going 1, 2, 3, and with continuous motion, continuous attacks like that. You want to have your hilt pretty high, because if you start doing this and she runs back, she can do an Uberlauf and hit you back, something like that. And you want to have your hilt in front of you, because if you run in like this, it's going to turn. So you want the ability to make continuous strikes in front of you. You're cutting your path of safety with your attacks. Feint it, and all the time my cross is in front of me, protecting me, putting her on the defensive. So that's the third one we're going to do now. When I come in and it's believable, my partner will retreat a couple of steps. I will just try to pursue with continuous attacks, see if I can land a hit within 4 or 5 steps. Then you break, you redo it, 5 times each, switch rolls. Questions for that? Don't run away too fast. Just enough so they can still
Maybe
have a
line
chance.
up like in line.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Let's line up. One line over there, and one line over here. And then you're comfortable working all the other cuts as well, short edge and low and so on. And not just right, left, but right, high, low, all these kind of combinations, so that you don't give your opponent time to work with. Same with your footwork. Don't get stuck like this. And even once you pass that, you start working passing steps. Don't get stuck using the same length of step every single time. Sometimes you should do small, and sometimes you should do long steps. All to mess with your opponent's perception of distance. And they all get stuck in the same speed. Again, happens, but be mindful of it, so that if you are unable to pursue someone, maybe it's because you're trying to run at the same pace all the time. You can mix it up a little bit. Slow, fast, slow, fast. When you take this 4 or 5 steps, you'll have more to work with. Okay, so now we have 3, right? They do nothing, you talk them on the head, or whatever. They parry, you bind and wind in, or strike around to the next opening. They retreat, you pursue. The 4th one is the most difficult one, and that's what we practiced before in the combination drill, and that's when they blindly countercut in, or they try to be intelligent about it. And when you do that, you abort your attack. You parry or deal with their attack, and then you go in. That's a useful sword. The most, for me, the safest way is usually to strike the sword away with a sort of crude power-like motion, because not only am I close it off so I'm safe, which I can also do with a simple parry, but I also strike the point off to the side, so I have more space to work with. What I mean is this: if I attack and you counter-attack, well, just wait until I start, so you do it right after. Now I start, now she counters, and I just go in close. Yeah, it's good, you know, but then it's going to be hard to continue. I can wind in or something, but I prefer to just strike it away. So I go hit, off. Now I have more space to work, and the point is offline. So that's the preferred method, is to strike before you from attack away, always. Sometimes you have to parry. Okay, that's fine as well. The exercise now looks like this. I make a believable initiation. Christina counters when she sees that I'm going in. Just wait for a little bit, and sort of, now she comes in, and I abort it and go. So I start my attack. She counter strikes to wherever opening, really. She can try whichever one she wants to make it difficult for me. When I start it, so when I go here, now here it comes, and then I abort, and then I go back in. So I come in, I feint a thrust, she answers with a thrust of her own. Okay, see. Cut. Not believable. Just dumb. Let's do that again. And then, if I fail, I'll do the same thing again, so I have it. That's it. For the coach, just have them start the attack and then go. If it's too difficult, you slow down a little bit. But you want to have the skill to actually have start the attack and then abort it and then go in.
So I have to wait basically a beat.
Yeah, so slow it down first. Then you can speed it up afterwards. And if you start getting messy, you slow it down again. Most likely you might be getting too close. Because it's really easy to start this exercise from this distance when you get lazy. No, you start from out here, and then you go in. Questions on this? Right, let's try that. If she does nothing, I just sit. Right. If she parries, I wind, I hit, bind and wind, or I strike to the other opening. If she retreats, I pursue. And if she counter strikes, I abort, close the line, and then I attack again. Right, those are the 4. Now, I have no idea which one Christine is going to choose. I just have to decide immediately. Okay. Sort of. Those four. If they do nothing, just continue the attack. If they parry, you wind or you strike around. If they retreat, you pursue. If they counterattack, you abort, deal with that, and then you finish. And then you cover that. Up to the coach to make it easy enough to function, but difficult enough to be challenging. If you find it difficult, especially the fourth one, where you start throwing in a counterattack, most likely you're getting a bit too close, or you're doing it a bit too fast. The one such motion that happens all the time is this. Left hanger, left overhand. A classic response from a huge part of the historical fencing community to any sort of attack. And that one is pretty big too, so you can work with that one. If you're having difficulties with tight counterattacks, just have your coach do this. Around. That one is bigger. It's very, very common, so it's good to practice against, and it gives you a bit more time to work with. Around. Okay, so 4 different ones. It's up to the coach to use whichever you prefer, and then the student has to immediately respond with the proper action. Questions? All right, try it out, and then we're done.